Hello guys, I'm Yalchi and today our dear guest is Mike from from Asia. He's my friend and a very good guy. Mike, welcome to SellerSprite Today Show. How are you?
Great, great. Thanks for having me on the show. It's a pleasure, man.
Thank you. I remember last year we also had podcast with you and we met here in Shenzhen as well. How was trip to China, Shenzhen? What did you feel? How long haven't you been in China recently?
Yeah, I think we've had a few different episodes on your channel and my channel over the last few years. I remember you had been trying to get back into China during COVID, and I was in China and I got out of China. I came back to China, but I feel like this year, 2024, is finally the border. When did it really finally get to be easier? I guess it did open in 2023, but I think it was still kind of difficult. I did go in 2023 in April, but this last in 2024, it has been a little bit easier for the visas and border transfers. I, in my opinion, again, I don't know if you have an opinion or people viewing, but I think finally the COVID controls of transportation is finally gone, even in China. I think China was one of the last countries to like kind of remove the restrictions of travel and borders and visas. So yeah, I came back. When was that? End of May this year in 2024, a couple weeks there. It's about 10 days, 10, 12 days. It was really intense. China is always the energy, right? The entrepreneurs and the sellers. We had a meetup that you came to down in Shuiwei. It was really packed. I don't know. It was jam-packed. We had a little sharing about some new investments we're doing here in the community. We'll talk about that later, I think, and also just met a lot of different people. The trend is definitely seeming about diversification. I think we'll also chat about that today too. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it does seem more diversified. People are doing like I guess Shopify or shopping carts or you know Temu Shane or other channels. I think finally there's less and less like only Amazon sellers lately. I feel like much more multi-channel or different channel. But it's just in general, it was so nice to see, we had that mini mastermind with some great sellers before, and then a fun meetup with yeah, it's just so much different than Southeast Asia. Like we have meetups here. I organized some meetups in Chiang Mai, Thailand. They were pretty busy. It was like 25 or so people. Um, but it's just different. And the China ones I feel are more maybe experienced or more battle tested. I feel like that's one of my differences that I see in China. The people are more deeper in the trenches of business with like multiple different
Yeah.
kinds of things going on, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah, yeah.
you know what I mean?
Business is like life here.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
kind of
The
the
China
business.
community is everybody's a workaholic. Everybody's working all the time, right? They're replying on their phones to some business deals at 9 to 10 p.m., doing a phone call, right? They'll go do a phone
Yes.
call in the other restaurant at the meetup for some sourcing deal or some trading thing or some account set up. It's hyper active business in China.
Yeah, especially in Guangdong, some of my friends come from Sichuan or north part of China. They say when they go to a restaurant and they listen to someone to sitting beside and they're talking, they are always trying to sell something, buy something. There's
Yeah,
always like buying this one. And I think in Guangdong, it's when we go to meet up with anyone or meeting with someone to eat or sit down drinking coffee, there's always discussion about the business. How is Amazon? How is this product? What's going on
it's
with this
true.
product? Uh,
Yeah.
just could you
It's
talk a little bit about you, how you lived in China, how you moved I know you are living in Thailand, and how it's going. You can talk a little bit about that.
sure. My quick story is it starts on eBay in 2004 while I was working on Wall Street in New York City, and also my website, drop shipping and others. And of course, most e-commerce sellers all led to China manufacturing and sourcing, right? So started buying from Alibaba, Global Sources, and others within a couple of years of starting e-commerce, moving to the direct supply. But it led me to quitting my job in Wall Street because I was not happy, to be honest. That's a whole nother discussion. But I was also making enough, at least, I wasn't making as much as Wall Street, to be honest, at that time, but I was making enough to travel and to live a better lifestyle. And I went to China. I never thought I would live there. I remember I just, I got the visa like we were chatting about a little bit, and I thought it's like visas for visit a country. I'll be honest, I never thought you could. It sounds stupid, but I never really thought you could like relocate without. I mean, I know people do, but I thought it was a much bigger. I remember I just thought it was not as possible. But then when I was in China in 2007 during a trip and like Canton Fair and Global Sources and all those trade shows, people were telling me you could stay here, you could just live here, you could. I'm like, how do you stay longer than a visa's like 30-day stay or whatever, or 60-day? I can't remember. So yeah, I moved there very end up. I came back to the US and then I was like, man, I can't get. I was so bored in the US. I think like you had said maybe when you were in Europe you were excited to go back to China. I was just saying, I was like, there's just like we're just saying, there's so much like business and entrepreneur and activity and discussion where you go back to your home country. I think almost anywhere else in the world, it's just quieter. It's not as, so I couldn't wait to get back. But so I came back in '07 and started doing more sourcing and product development for myself and others. And School of Hard Knocks, like definitely was not, I know a lot of the gurus like to say they're like, it's so easy, or they just started growing like, there's just a lot of School of Hard Knocks, some good, some bad, some making some money, losing some money. But I love it. And, I recently moved to Thailand. Well, not really recently. A couple years
Do you,
before COVID, a couple years after COVID is what I say, mostly because of my kids' education. I don't know if I think you're still single, Yeltsin, but I think when you get married and have kids, I think it's a life changer for anyone. Life changes when you have kids. Well, of course, we all have decisions about how we live, but a lot of us, start to prioritize our kids and our education. So I had a few choices. I could have, of course, like many, just go back to my home country, like in the US, and gone to school, have my kids go to school there. But I preferred to find other choices and chose Thailand for mainly the lifestyle and the schools. And it's still not so far from China. Like I could go back and meet up with you guys with a couple hours flight. And the visa seems like the border doesn't seem as troublesome now. So probably a pretty smooth entrance to do some meetups and networking in China. But that's the very quick story. But yeah, I mean, running a few brands now, where I'm a significant shareholder, owner of, and do the events like community things, and recently got invest into a logistics company we can talk about, and I just am a workaholic, and my life and my business are integrated. Like my wife's kind of got into the business too, a lot, and she's working hard, and our kids are learning by probably being around us about entrepreneurship. So that's the quick answer about China.
how about your kids? They speak both Chinese and English, is it?
Yeah, my father-in-law is here in Thailand with us. So he's Chinese. I didn't really say, but my wife is Chinese. So he's actually like teaches them Chinese because the school is all English. So they had really learned Chinese well, of course, during the time in China, especially during COVID, everything was Chinese. And now their English is really picked up, but it's kind of funny because they're starting to lose some of their Chinese because they haven't really been in China for a couple of years now. They're 8 and 10 years old. Um, but I think it's really amazing. They learn different languages, not just languages though, but culture, right? Because they
Yeah.
kind of understand language is one part, but culture is another. They've traveled also with us to like Singapore and Malaysia, and I don't think they've gone to Philippines yet. Of course, to China through Hong Kong, things like that. So they're definitely in way more. I don't know about you, but I didn't travel internationally till I was like a high school trip for like a week to Italy or something. So I never got that much experience of international travel at
Yeah,
their age.
I think it's totally different for children nowadays and back to like 20 years ago or 25 years ago. The world was, I think, too much local that time. Nowadays, you can go this country and even some of my friends, they buy a ticket to go to Bangkok and they come back for 1,000 yuan, for a very cheap flight and very easily. They go there and they spend 3 days, 4 days and they come back because in travel in China is much more expensive and Nowadays, the airports are terrible, always delay 4 hours, 5 hours, and too,
Oh,
too much here. And instead, they go to Bangkok or some South Asian country and come back very easily. Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, I
Let's
did. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
to a different question. Can you say a little bit about difference in CE Asia from China recently this year, especially maybe 2024 and the end of 2023?
Sure. So SE Asia or Southeast Asia is, like where I am in Thailand, and I was recently in Vietnam. I don't know if you saw that. I went to Vietnam after I met you and the community and
Mhm.
friends in China. I went directly to Vietnam. I also was in both the two major cities in the south of Ho Chi Minh or Saigon, and then north in Hanoi. Or actually, I spoke at Amazon in office, and then also did with the World First in Hanoi, where I got to meet a lot of sellers there. And and of course, I'm here in Thailand and Bangkok a lot, as well as here in Chiang Mai for seller events. So actually, Southeast Asia, how do I say this? It's kind of like Europe and the US, whereas like China is like compared to Southeast Asia. What I mean is Europe is all these different countries and cultures and languages. The one difference is it's mostly euro now, euro currency. In Southeast Asia, it's also like it's actually even more complex because they all have different currencies, right? I have to convert Vietnamese dong, Thai baht, like Philippines pesos, all these different countries have their own currency and their own languages and their own cultures. So I could kind of spend a lot of time, but Vietnam is definitely the hot spot for sellers. Um, they are very hungry and eager, kind of feeling like Chinese. I mean, Chinese sellers still are, but I just feel like, and I think most people agree from my discussions, is it's kind of like maybe China sellers were like 10 years ago. They're all learning, they're all starting, they're all, I spoke about branding there, and they're taking notes, and it's a full room of like 80, 90 people, like standing room only, of Vietnamese sellers. And they still don't really know the like branding and like, the kind of the optimization. They're still kind of in the more early stage where they're just like multiple accounts, listing anything they can find, like kind of maybe getting a little bit in trouble, etc., and figuring it out. And another big difference is there's a lot of POD, print on demand. You know about print on demand?
Do sell on Amazon or
I don't think
other
they do
platform?
Amazon. A lot of them did the Etsy or the various platforms like Teespring. So a lot of Vietnamese, I think what happened was, from what I understand, a lot actually Vietnam and China culture is similar in the point where one person starts making a lot of money with Teespring and in Vietnam in a community, and then somebody else starts Teespring, and somebody else starts Teespring, which is like a POD platform, and then they all
Mhm.
start doing it. So it became this huge cluster because a few got some success. And so a lot are still in the POD, and they're starting to bring their POD products into Amazon. So like one seller came up to me after my workshop, and she was trying to take some of her like I think Etsy or her not Amazon, and try to sell it on Amazon, but it wasn't really a brand. It was customized products. Uh, so I was trying to explain to her that's not really a brand. You can make it a business, but you need like a brand name for that. Like customizable t-shirts or whatever is not a brand. It's a type of product. And I was, so I was saying this is like kind of early in Vietnam. In Thailand, it's a little bit different. Thailand, I think even Amazon shifted a lot of its focus to Vietnam from Thailand. Their office here is not as big. They have like the global selling department, so I think a lot of their resources went to Vietnam. I didn't go to both their offices. I went to their office in Ho Chi Minh, and they're expanding. They're hiring more people. They have their one side. They have like a whole floor of a downtown building I went to. I have photos I can show you. And one side is their AWS, the hosting, and the other side is the seller. What's it called? The global selling.
Global
So
seller.
So they kind of have one for the hosting and one for the selling. So then, but they were also saying like Vietnam sellers, Thai sellers, locals, they're family owned businesses, and they just don't seem as, I guess I hope I don't offend people, but generally, of course, as hungry. Of course, I know some huge Thai sellers, but a lot of them are just maybe not as hungry to get more money. Which sound, maybe it's the Buddhism culture, but Vietnam is more like China. They want to, like you said earlier, they want to make money. They talk about business all the time, things like that. And Philippines, I haven't gotten too much experience in lately, but they're starting to say there's more and more entrepreneurs and sellers in Philippines lately. What I'm hearing, but it's just more
Uh,
fragmented, right? It's more difficult than China because it's one. China is like US. It's like one huge country, mostly one
yeah.
language, one currency, things like that.
From the Philippines, there are many VAs. Like if you go to Fiverr, Upwork, you can find many people working from the Vietnam. Even majority of the big companies, they have Vietnam office or Vietnam VAs working for, sorry, Philippines.
Yeah.
Uh, Definitely learn and maybe start it. Even recently, I met the guy from Carbon Six. They
Mm.
have partner from the Philippines. Even the technical, all the technical team and the build up website, everything was from here. They talk for just 2 days ago, something like that. I saw some statistics about Vietnam. Their high tech product increased dramatically. Like maybe they are the top 7 or 8 country in the world to export high tech products.
Yeah.
And it's pretty amazing. Before, I always thought like maybe wood product is popular as far as I know from the Vietnam wood or clothing or this kind of stuff. But I saw there is also high tech product uh, from Thailand. Also should be some high tech product. Uh, as I heard, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong.
I mean, I did meet some EV. It's called electronic vehicles or electric vehicles. I met some EV factories, but Thailand is, how do I say? I guess, of course, I'm forgetting some other countries. Um, but I mostly know, Thailand, Vietnam, and Philippines. Of course, there's other humongous ones like Indonesia. I have no experience in. There's Malaysia and Singapore. I have no real experience in too much, so I can't speak for those. But generally, the bucket is Thailand is more like lifestyle tourism. It's not as
Mm,
good for like local business. I like to keep it real. I don't want to like. Of course, there's exceptions. I know people that have factories and stuff, but it's not like high tech here. Maybe
mm,
somewhat changing, but it's mostly still, Philippines, like you said, is English speaking, VA, virtual assistants. So like
yeah.
same with me, like a lot of our team, people editing these shows, majority of my team is Filipino. And then
Mm,
Vietnam, it seems like more like China. It's actually got a border with mainland China, right? So I also heard it's easier to bring products in and out of China from Vietnam than the others. And they're more like culturally like hardworking, like Chinese. And whereas I feel like the other Southeast Asia countries, again, I'm generalizing, but are not as like hungry. And I think that's what people would mostly generally agree with on my thought.
Okay, let's go to the next one. Recently, you invested a warehouse in China, and let's go to talk about your warehouse and what you are doing. What's the purpose? How you can help the sellers like that?
Sure. So So yeah, the name of the logistics is easychinawarehouse.com. And it was started by, I don't know if you knew Brian Miller, but he's pretty active in the Shenzhen community. He's also originally from the US, like I am. And he worked hard on that. I started before COVID and I think 2016-ish started doing that type of business and built it up. I mean, not just like just like he's not like it's just sales. They actually have a full operation. He has a real office in near the airport in Bao'an, local Chinese staff that are very, very good. I really like the team, and of course, there's long-term customers. Mostly it's Western customers. Some might be listening to the show, and the price is, it's not like we're a middleman. We get the same pricing that Chinese logistics companies provide, so we are competitive in our pricing, and it just seemed compelling. Brian recently got, I don't know how personal I should get, but basically a life-changing marriage and wants to move back to the US. And so it's harder for him to manage the business when he's in the US. And so I was looking for a buyer, and we were talking for a while, and it just seemed like a good fit. I know, everyone knows I do so many things, but I'm more of the investor here. We brought in a CEO, Justin. He's a local Chinese. I don't know if you met him at that meetup when I was there. So he's our the managing partner, also shareholder of the business, and I'm very impressed. I've worked with him many years, and he's been doing a really great job leading the business and the team. And we want to keep the legacy of what Brian built and continue to grow it. And I also feel like strategically it's a good decision to we're working on some Web3 startups, and we need more logistics solutions for our startups. And we're going to use some of the excess capacity for some other shipping for the blockchain projects. So it's seems like and it's a great team. Honestly, I was really impressed. We did some training yesterday for them. I really think Brian did a great job building that business, and we want to continue to grow it.
Yeah, good luck. We are gonna add a warehouse website on the description. You can write directly, talk, and whatever you need, store products there and
Yeah.
fulfill to direct customer, even it's small parcel, B2B, B2C. You can ship to anywhere almost in the world, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's true. Some people think it's just a warehouse, but it's of course full logistics. So B2B or D2C from China. We don't have any US warehouses yet. Maybe we're considering it, but for now we're purely from China, but we can do ocean shipping. It doesn't even need to go to our warehouse. We could just ship directly if you need to places, and we could also just be another quote price. So some people have been contacting us. They have another logistics company. They want another price, and they've been actually surprised with some of our offer price. So they're happy to work with us. Of course, we have English speaking. I'm actually investing in them learning English from my wife's business. She has an English learning platform. So some of the team is getting some English training to improve their English to talk with our customers even better. So we're really working hard on our optimizing and improving the service too. So yeah, we can do any kind of shipping from China, D2C or
Great.
B2C or B2B.
That's really great. Before I had several problems with shipping company. It was a really terrible problem. One problem cost us more than 100K. This guy, it was sometimes very bad for your business.
I just want to disclose logistics is hard. I don't want to promise it'll be 100% perfect even if you work with us. I mean, we try to be transparent, but sometimes things get stuck even with us. Customs can sometimes be troublesome. So I really, really hope never any issues with anybody, but we work as hard to be basically we're just trying to be as transparent as possible about the process, try to make sure to educate the client. Sometimes there's new sellers that are not familiar. So we're really trying, that's why we're even improving our English with some of our client services team to explain things clearly to our customers. Because yeah, logistics is complicated and it is tricky, and there is horrible stories that even can still happen with us, but we really try our best to communicate clearly and educate the customer.
Okay, good luck. Please, guys, reach out to me, or we are gonna add the contact information, website, whatever you need, logistic, and anything from the China. Mike can help you to ship product anywhere in the world. Let's go to next question. What's your opinion about nowadays Amazon and the D2C, like Temu, Shein, and the
Yeah.
TikTok shop? A lot of things going on nowadays. What's your opinion? How do you see them?
The funny thing is, this rumor or the news, I think it seems like it's mostly confirmed about Amazon doing D2C from China. That was, at least I heard about it after we had invested in Easy China Warehouse, and some people thought that was asking if it was good or bad. So the point is, I'm sure when Amazon finishes and publicizes this, they're not going to probably work with us, unfortunately. They'll probably have their own warehouse, and they'll just tell their sellers to, if they want to use FBA, to use their FBA China warehouse, right? I'm assuming that's what they'll say. They're not going to contact Easy China Warehouse and say, hey, can we use your service? I'm sure they don't want to cooperate with anybody, right? So my guess is Amazon will probably set up their own FBA warehouse in, say, Shenzhen or South China, maybe Central China, etc., and then tell sellers to ship there for the D2C Amazon shipments. But I do feel, and we also do some meetups here in Chiang Mai for sellers, and we had a meetup in Shenzhen when we got to meet. I do feel like people want to diversify outside of Amazon. So if you have all your product inside Amazon, you're kind of stuck on Amazon. Of course, I'm still a majority seller. I'm still a seller, and I'm still an Amazon seller. But like what we're trying to say is diversification. So I still feel like what I invested in with Easy China Warehouse or any other 3PL will still be needed because you want it to be diversified. But I do think Amazon's doing that because the trend is D2C from China. So I still feel like a couple days ago at a meetup, I met a seller and he used to work at Amazon,
Okay.
inside, and he doesn't want to use FBA. He says he'll only use FBA for what he sells on Amazon. He won't use because people are telling him, oh, you have a Shopify store. You should also use the fulfilled by a merchant, or the seller fulfilled. I forget the stupid word, but you should use the Amazon's warehouse. He's like, no, no, no. I don't want to use them for anything else except for their customers. So, I just think there's gonna be more and more people shipping direct from China, and it's getting to be also that means it's going to be accepted by the end customer. Americans, Europeans, etc., will start to accept maybe 5 to 10 day shipping from China. They're going to see like, oh, I could buy this on Amazon from the US for $20, or I could buy this from Amazon China for $10, but I got to wait 5 to 10 days. Okay, I can wait for 5 to 10 days. So what I'm thinking is going to happen is more and more consumers around the world will be used to shipping from China, right? Amazon's going to
Yeah.
educate everybody. They're going to have I don't know, we don't know exactly, but I can imagine like some kind of new section on their Amazon.com, right? Ship from China or something like this, right? They're going to call it something. They're going to click this tab. They're going to have the prices way lower. They're going to say, hey, Yelchin, hey, Mike, you're a seller on Amazon. Do you want to use our China warehouse, right? So then I think what's going to happen is drop shipping, Temu, all these other ones will be more and more legitimate. Do you know what I mean? They'll be accepted by the consumer because Amazon does it. So I can say, hey, Amazon does this. I do this too. It's not going to be as like shady or weird or dangerous because even Amazon does it now. So I think it's going to be maybe good for the market. And I think, well, maybe you don't, again, I think me, Elson, I don't like the hard sell or push. Of course, you don't have to use Easy China Warehouse if you can use other solutions, but I still think these other third-party solutions will still be needed because people don't want to put everything in Amazon's warehouse. And I think people need to sell more diversified. I'll be a little bit honest, you just talked about Temu. I'm not still so experienced on Temu or Shane, but of course I know they're very high volume direct from China platforms. And we have people contacting us that want to set up the same thing with our warehouse, and they don't want to use Amazon's, right? So we're kind of trying to give people the solution to ship from China D2C, like Amazon's starting to do, and these others have been doing, without needing to, trust everything with Amazon. Plus, they're going to cost more than us. I'm sure their fees will be more than us. I guarantee that, in my opinion.
For Shopify or website, I agree with you. I know many sellers sell on Amazon, and also they have Shopify store. They all ship the products from the China.
Yep.
It's going easier, cheaper, and just maybe 1-2 days difference to delivery date. It's
Yep.
easy, and you don't need to store a lot of products on the USA warehouse.
Yeah.
Plus, when you ship the product to USA as a bulk, still you are paying for that product.
Exactly.
Even you compare, it's gonna be expensive. And another thing, when the news came out, like Amazon opening warehouse, as far as I read, they are opening warehouse. One is Guangdong, like Foshan or Dongguan, this close
Yeah.
to Guangzhou. One is close to Shanghai.
Yep, that's what I didn't
Okay.
hear that, but that's what I would assume that too. That's what makes sense.
Yeah, it's like two important points for e-commerce. I thought maybe you knew this kind of there. Amazon is going to open the warehouse, or therefore you invested and you.
Oh, I mean, maybe I should say that because I was smart, but no, I didn't know that till after. I remember talking to Brian, asking his opinion but no, I didn't know. I was a little bit, I'll be honest, honestly, it's a little bit scary because, of course, Amazon tries to kill everybody else and just wants to be the only one. But I feel now with Temu, Shane, people want to be on Shopify and other platforms, I think people want more diversification anyway, and we'll provide a quality service that I think will probably be more affordable than Amazon's China warehouse anyway.
Yeah, for I have been joining the different meetups, and before like 2018, 19, 20, I never saw anyone from the Amazon side to come to join the Amazon meetups. But nowadays, I see always there's someone works for Amazon as a logistic or
Yeah,
different. They come to join the meetup and they try to persuade sellers.
yeah,
Still, sometimes you are asking the question how it will. I met a guy in Shanghai. He said, "Okay, we can ship your container." I say, "Okay, will be the direct contact. I can contact you. My container is here, or did you load? And could you do this one, that one, or I should go through Amazon? The seller support or that difficult stuff." They say mostly it's done through seller support, or you should write email. But I know it's terrible, when there is a problem, you write Amazon maybe two
yeah, that's
days
a
later,
good point.
one guy. But why third party like you or other warehouse or shipping logistic are good? Because someone you can directly contact
Yeah,
and get what's going on. Not like Amazon, you write and 2 days later they write, okay, the case updated, someone will replay it. This is really terrible
I
experience
yeah, that's a good
for.
point. I mean, mostly we use WeChat groups. Of course, we can use email or sometimes WhatsApp, but we hope customers can use WeChat. And then we have like a group. I'm in most of the groups, and we share updates there, and people can ask questions. And that's what we're also saying and selling too. But it's communication service, easy communicate, so chats. So we try to help as much as. So we've talked about that. We want service to be, and not even really a price difference, or maybe even more affordable. But I think everybody listening should diversify, whether you use us or not. I hope you do, or at least consider. You shouldn't just give everything to Amazon because, well, not even Amazon. If one company has everything right, it's dangerous because they control
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Then, I think it's pretty much true. They'll say, "Oh, send me your invoice, send me your factory information." And then they tell that factory to sell on Amazon directly. It's been caught multiple times, so many times, right? So you're like, oh yeah, you can take my container from China. Okay, send me your factory's phone number or WeChat or invoice. And then suddenly the factory gets a phone call from Amazon Global Selling. Hi, would you like to sell on Amazon? It's crazy, man. It's really crazy. I can't believe they can do that. And they do that. I don't know. I mean, I can't
Yes,
say recently I've heard that, but that's what they do.
they do, yeah. Several times, even some big brands, Amazon removed from the Amazon and they sell same product, from the same factory.
It's unbelievable. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's why we should diversify our services. It's also protecting our data and our hard work, sourcing and developing these products, right?
Yes, yeah, agree. Let's go to next question. I know you are working on blockchain, Web3 technology, and startups related all these areas. So, what's your opinion? What do you see in the future trend, and how is it going? As far as I remember, last year you said you are doing some e-commerce with payment with crypto
Crypto.
or something
Yeah,
like that. Can you mention about that a little bit, please?
sure. I have to admit, I wish I didn't start talking about it last year because it takes so long to make. We just had a 2-hour partner call. Last night when we're recording this morning. It's very difficult. It's very complex. I think that's why some people call blockchain projects sometimes like scams. I don't know if every blockchain project means to be a scam, but I think sometimes legitimately they underestimate the time and money it's going to take to make some of these projects. So it's been like, you know, I mean, it depends what you say when we started, but I've been talking about this for over a year, and we started really building it full time since the beginning of 2024. So it takes a long time. We hope to have an MVP, or like call it minimum viable product, ready by maybe August. We're working hard to have a cross-border summit and a Canton Fair events, things like that. But basically, yeah, we're building a blockchain-based marketplace and crypto payments for buying and selling, which I don't know if you understand what that means, or listeners, so I'll try to explain it. But I finally got one of my Amazon accounts unbanned or released from Informact. Remember Informact? INFORM. You ever do that? Informact?
What's that?
At least I don't know if it's US sellers or whatever, but it's all caps, INFORM. It's some kind of US law, new law, regulation, something that you have to tell Amazon all about your business, like address proof, and every year they're making you renew it.
Yeah, yeah.
It was approved like 2 years. Anyway, one of the accounts they didn't accept the late like statement or the address proof, or there was like a bug in their own system. I couldn't change some of the information. It wouldn't let me change it. Almost lost the account. Almost lost the account. I don't know. My I guess VA, or I don't like call them VAs honestly, but one of our account managers in the Philippines, Nico, helped us. He kept refreshing the page. He finally got it. He refreshed it. He says he refreshed. I don't know how many times, but I mean, this is like over like months. You know what I'm talking about? Like, I think the Inform it's been like 2 or 3 months of us fighting them about our Inform approval. I don't know. I said this was like over 2 or 3 days. I said, dude, I give up. I told him, Nico. He's like, oh, you got to send this. You got to get this document. I said, dude, I give up, man. I'm going to lose this account. I give up. I give up. And
Okay.
I actually, he earned his salary for sure. He fixed it. I don't know, but he said he had refreshing the page multiple. Finally, let him change the drop down country. It switched from an
Mhm.
Italian account to a U.S. account. Okay, we used to be a U.S. Italian company, not company, Italian personal. And was switched to a U.S. business. But it was stuck on Italy in the country of the address, even though we switched to a U.S. company already a year before. I'm getting into a tangent here, but the point is, we're with blockchain, it's not controlled by Amazon. The data would be on the blockchain, right? Like I'm making a
Yeah.
marketplace called Hamza, which will be one marketplace. But the point is, yes, the marketplace can still ban you. If you sell bad products, you're a bad seller, you can still get banned. But your money, your product, well, it depends where your product is, but the product data, maybe the inventory, depending on what warehouse has it, the feedback, the history is still yours in your in your wallet. I don't know how technical to get today, but for those who understand like Web3 wallet or crypto wallet, it will still be your data. And then you could go onto another marketplace that supports this blockchain system we're building called LoadPipe, and you could restore your data there. So it's basically separating. Right now, Amazon has everything, right? They have your
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
everything. And you get banned on there. It's called a TOS. You check the box, terms of service. So you have to sue them, right? You and I know all these lawyers. There's lawyers, right? You contact a lawyer and they have to try to fight Amazon for you. But what we're trying to do is separate that so that they don't have all control of your everything. They're so big, and then you got to contact seller support and they don't care. And then you get some standard reply 2 days later, like you said. So what we're trying to do is make a blockchain base that's owned by the users, owned by the sellers, owned by the buyers, and then the crypto payments. So it's very complex, and we're doing it in different stages. We might simplify it a little bit because to make the whole thing finished first is going to cost too much time and money. So we're probably going to come out with a simpler version in a month or two. But basically, loadpipe.com is called the blockchain protocol for the sellers, and then Hamza.biz is our first marketplace, which is still on testnet right now as we talk about this. But the point is, I don't want to say it, but I'm not trying to be like the next. I mean, I hope to make money with this. There are ways that I, as a creator, one of the creators, can make money, but I'm not going to be I'm not going to get as much money or power as, say, Jeff Bezos or Jack Ma, right? I'm trying to make a new system where if this does work, I will be very, financially rewarded, but I'm not going to be able to control everything in the system. I'm not going to control all the buyer accounts, all the seller accounts, all the seller data. That's Web 2. Web 3 is separating the data from the platform, from the application. So we're trying to take what I've learned during COVID and NFTs and Web 3 and crypto, and I'm trying to apply that to e-commerce.
I agree with you because when we have the listing on Amazon, I think all of them belong to Amazon.
Yeah, it's
None
all
of them.
Amazon's. Maybe the store, I think, is ours, the storefronts, but not the listing. The listing is theirs.
Yeah, but in the crypto, everyone has this kind of data, and no one is controlling your ban or no. They definitely will be some guides and laws, and everyone obeys them. Not
Yeah,
like Amazon didn't like and they just shut down this one, or
exactly.
because when I studied master, my the major was like blockchain technology. I understand the technology, how that blockchain works and how data stores and everywhere, not controlled by someone. It's everywhere.
Exactly. So, the sad part is there's a lot of scam. There's early, there was cheaters in crypto that have given a bad name to crypto, but the technology is good. I believe in the technology. Unfortunately, there are bad actors, especially. I think a lot of times with new technology, people take advantage of people, others, because it's new and they can get away with like being a cheater. But the technology is superior to Web 2. And once people start to understand how it works, but yeah, basically I'm doing something very, very early stage. It's very, very complicated, it's still early, but I'd like to just still share with your viewers that we're working on this. And if people are early stage, maybe interested to be a beta user or something, maybe on the loadpipe.com, there's a sign up button for email, but we're going to work it out. We're working on it we just want to get the working product out for people to like test and give feedback on. It's been a lot harder than I thought. I guess everything in life is like that, but we have a great team. We have great developers. We have mostly developers on the team right now, building, and I hope to come out with something for people to see soon. We have demo.hamza.biz. It's still also on testnet, but like Luciano's doing some great design with us. The logo is behind me. Luciano, I think you know from Shenzhen, he helped design the logo. That's the Hamza logo, and then the load pipe is behind me on the other side. But yeah, we're working hard. I think there's such a difference in e-commerce. Like in social media, there's lots of platforms coming out for social media on blockchain. I don't know if you follow like Nostr or Warpcast. There's a couple others, but nobody's that I know of that's really building e-commerce on the blockchain. And I don't know why. I was just in a crypto event in Europe and they don't seem to understand why you need blockchain for e-commerce. They said Amazon's good. They tell me that. These crypto people say, what's wrong with Amazon? Amazon's good. I'm like, are you serious? It's worse than Facebook. It's worse than Twitter. It's worse than Instagram. What are you talking about? But they don't know. They're not sellers. They don't know.
Yeah, I wanted to ask that question. Are you a seller or
They're all buyers. Crypto people are not sellers. Crypto people are buyers. There's very few crypto people that are sellers. There are some, and I know some, but there's not as most like Danny McMillan. I asked Danny if he does crypto. He says, I think he's maybe done some in a like maybe he's done some like basic like trading in those exchanges, but I asked him, do you know MetaMask? He doesn't know MetaMask. So I'm like, see, most sellers don't know crypto. They don't even know the power. They don't know. They think it's like a lot of crypto. I mean, a lot of e-commerce sellers think it's a scam because there's cheaters that that cheat people and the crashes of tokens, right? A lot of people, they don't know. So there's this huge separation. So I'm trying to bring the e-commerce and the crypto together.
yeah, before we gave example, very basic example. For example, knife you can do a lot of bad things, but you use at home for many good things to cut the
That's a good
meat,
point. Yeah.
anything, right? If someone did a scam for crypto or just like Celsius or some the
Yeah,
cryptos,
that stuff. Yeah.
you cannot say, oh, all blockchain is scam or bad or something like that, right? Uh, of course, you need to use it properly and be aware for loops. You can lose
Yeah.
money or
Yeah.
be on your wallet or password, something.
Yeah. I like the knife example. I might use that. That's a good point.
Yeah. It's just definitely because mostly, I don't know, maybe it's being human. We believe something negative or bad. It's easily to believe or get addicted rather than to positive stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I
Uh,
agree. And then of course I don't know. I don't know how much to get into this, but of course banks don't like crypto. I think a lot of them because they're scared it's going to not need banks and other establishments might not be as needed with blockchain technology and crypto. So they don't like it. So they, I think, make it sound dangerous or bad in their marketing on purpose, in my opinion. So yeah. So yeah, it's like the long-term startup. So like I think you can see like I'm trying to make this like portfolio of different businesses. I'm still a seller. I have my own brands that are doing really well. We love SellerSprite. We use SellerSprite for our brands. I think you've maybe chatted some of our account team, and partners. And then there's this logistics services, and we have the community and our events like Cross Border Summit and Global from Asia events. And then this is like a new like and the Easy China warehouse services. And then we also have the just new startup stuff that's still not really ready, but I hope works. But I think there's others that do this. They have software like SellerSprite maybe is a seller too, maybe, I'm not sure, or maybe your parent company has other types of services or brands. So it's like kind of what we're trying to build, like a portfolio of businesses, right? It's like diversifying too.
Just after having, I knew, Mike, you involved many different kinds of businesses. After having this podcast, I understand more, like covering logistic, Amazon, Web3, even language, teaching language,
Yeah, my wife does the languages. Yeah.
living China, Bangkok. Even maybe you said here you involve some factory partnership in or helping the factory
Yeah,
in.
I usually do joint ventures with some factories like in Thailand. So a few of our brands are Thai made and we're partner with the factories that are here. Not so many, but like we have 4 brands and some are partner with the factories.
Inside of e-commerce, and you have also Amazon and trying Timo. We just talked before having the podcast.
Yeah, I got to learn Timo.
Diversify to diversify. Really, great, Mike. Great.
Thanks, Elsie.
Okay. Anything you want to add at the end?
Well, we just a little plug for our cross-border summit, which is in November in Chiang Mai. So November 3rd, 4th, and 5th. The 2 days core event is 4th and 5th. Third is the VIP mastermind, which will be epic. And also be a Canton Fair before. And then we're also doing a mastermind, only like 10-person, maybe 12-person max mastermind in Phuket after the summit, which will be really epic with Ali Gray and Kaylee Pendall and some others. So that'll be epic. So yeah, I mean, you can link to those and be cool to see. I think you're coming. I believe you told me you're coming to the summit.
Yeah, this year also I will go to attend the meeting, and
Great.
yeah, also I see your podcast events, mostly Instagram, Facebook, and even the WeChat. I see
Yeah,
almost everything. You're
we
quite
try to
active.
cover as much as we can.
Okay, thank you for today.
Yeah,
We can
thanks.
record the podcast maybe one more before your event to talk special about your events, how
Oh, sure.
about that. Thank you for today again. One more. See you guys.